Hi everyone, my name is Val and today we'll be looking at CSS Flexbox. So when we're looking at Flexbox, we found that we have many ways of laying our content. We have the positioning, we have the when we are using floating to arrange our content in our web page. We also have the grid system, which is new, came with Bootstrap and many other has been existing, but it helps us with the help of Bootstrap to speed up our work. So now we'll be looking at Flexbox and how we can use it to achieve a content layout, as you can see in the screen, to position each of our content to make them look good and nice without using grid system. So please let's dive in and understand more to it. In our VS Code, next thing we need to do is to set up our basic HTML structure. And type the key like this, press my enter key. I've created the basic structure of HTML. Next thing I'll do, I think I'll have a simple code I've copied. I would like to paste it. So looking at this code, you find that it's just very simple. I have a container, I called it con with a class of con. So it's wrapping every content I have here. Next, I have another div which is inner one. I have inside of it, I have a header containing first content. I have another div with class of inner 2. I have another div with class of inner 3. So all of them are containing contents, dead contents, and the rest of them. So if I should save this now and go and open it with something like live server. So to access live server, if you have not installed it before, you can click on extension, search for live server. So this will help us process our content and work very fast. So you will see this live server. So please make sure it's live server you can install. I've set it up already, so that's why I'm not seeing anything like install. It's telling me to uninstall. So if you have not done so, please try and do what set up your live server to be able to auto refresh as you are working. That's what it gives us room to achieve. So now I can go back. In order to activate my live server, I can right click. I will see here open with live server. So I can click on it to open and it just loaded. So I can see my first content, second content, third content. Very fine. So for now, let's try out Flexbox. So I will have to go back to my VS Code. Next thing I will need to do is within my head section, I would like to set up my style to enable me implement my Flexbox. So first and foremost, I would like to give a style this con, which is a container for me. So I will come here, since it's a class, I'll use full stop con, open my background, so I can give it a background so we can see what is happening at the same time. See how it looks. This is not what I want. I want background color. So make sure you type the correct thing. So once I have this, I can choose any color of my choice. I can go with this for now. So that means I've gotten a background color for this. Next thing I can do, I can give it a height. So now I'm going with height. I can choose something like, if I want, I can choose pixel. If I want, I can make it percentage. Will not make it show the height if there is no content in it. So but for now, I just want to go with 100 volume height. So this will assume the full height of any device I am currently in. So to check it out in my browser, you can see how it looks, which is nice. But unfortunately, I don't like, you can see there is some margin externally with a white background. So I'm not comfortable with this white margin I'm seeing here. So I can easily go back. In order to remove this, I can use my star. Star means I want to affect every work, everything. So I want to set my default. So since I want to set to default, I can apply my margin. I'm saying that everything that have to be the margin, I'm setting it back to 0. So everything have to be with padding, I'm setting it back to 0. So for the fact I'm styling it up here means that it won't override any style I have below. So that's one thing I'm doing, just setting it for default. If I should save and we go back to check what is happening, find that there is no margin. Everything is our content is taking the full height and width, and that's one thing we want. So far so good. This box, I would like us to give it a little border so we'll see what is happening as well. So to achieve that, all we need to do, it has its own name, so we can pick the name and copy these names, come below here. I want to apply another class, so I can paste each name, add a comma, paste it again. change it to 2 because I have the second class which is 2. I can add another comma and as well paste it and change it to 3. So I'm just trying to style 3 of them at the same time. I have 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm trying to achieve. So with this, I can give anything I want. One thing I would like to apply first is padding. I like padding my work to push it off. So I can apply padding of 10 pixels to it or 5 pixels for now. Next thing I can give it now is my border. If you are confused with how the border work, check out my video that have to do with border styling and the rest of them. So now I do border. I want to apply 1 pixel border. I want it to be solid, and again I need the style, the color of it, so I can choose any color of my choice. So for now I can go with something like reddish color or so. So with this I'm cool. I can save, check my work. So for now I found that we are consuming the whole space. For this red color I'm not comfortable with that, so I can change it to white. So that's, I can change it to any other color, whether white or white. So if we save now and check what is happening, I think I'm better with this. I'm okay with this. The next thing we do is we go back to apply our flex, start adding flex. So this is the parent container we have. So I can introduce my flex to it. So in order to use flex, you need to add this property of display, and I will choose flex. So we can display grade, we can display flex, depending on the one we want. So whenever we are looking at flex, there's something we need to understand. If I should save now and go back, you find that you have changed the position of these items. So one thing we need to understand when dealing with flex is that we have the main axis and the cross axis. So if you have done with something like mobile app, React Native, you find that the main axis is from top to bottom. That means if it's displaying, it will show you a flex that appears in column. But whenever we are working with browsers, we find that our flex, the main axis is from left to right, which works in row direction. So default is set with what row? That's one thing I want you to understand. That's why we are seeing our content. Initially it was below each other, but now you can see it by the side of each other. That means it's appearing, it's displaying this content in row format. So if we can as well do, we'll change it to a kind of column format if you want. It will now change it and start displaying it below each other again. So if we want, we can check it out and see it. And in order to achieve that, all we need to do is we add a flex direction. Thank God to our VS Code that helps to show us some of the things that we need. So I can choose column. So once I save this and check again, find out to have what we had before. First of all, I think might change this thing. I want to change the color so we can see our items very well. So I can change the color to white. So depending on my choice and on your choice, I can save. If we go back, find that our items are now in white color. So now you can change the main axis and the cross axis of your flex item. So depending on what you want, we have achieved that. Knowing that you have access to change either to flex direction column or flex direction row. So once we are working with browser, we have the default of row. Even if we don't set it, it will set it for us, which is this default we are seeing here. And also, if you notice, it's showing us that it's being stretched from beginning to the end. On this item, is the boxes are being stretched. Why? Because the default is being what? Stretched. So next thing we need to understand is how we can do what? Align our items. So since we say align items, most of the times flex is very tricky. Now we have the main axis from left to right like this, which is row. That means whenever we are aligning item, we are aligning our item contents that have to do with top and bottom. So that's how it works. But when we want to justify, when we are using a flex of row, like you can see here, that means we are justifying items from left to right. So depending on what we want to achieve. But if we are working with a flex box and we are using column as the flex direction, that means your align item will change. Instead of working from top to bottom, it will apply from left to right, while the justify content will now apply top to bottom. So we look at some of these things to understand how it works. So if we should go back now I want to play with the align items, I can as well add it, align items. Make sure you get the spelling. So you find that it gives us options of things we have that we can set whenever we want to do what, align items. And if you look now, it's placing itself on stretch because that's the default we have. Even if we fail to set it, it will set it for us to default. So next thing, we have option of choosing from any of these contents we have here. I can say something like flex start. So if I choose something like flex start and save, if we go back, we notice that now that stretch is not happening again. It's now starting our flexbox from the beginning. It pushed everything top. That's why I see that align item have to do from top to bottom. It can even move something at the top like this. You can push it to the center. You can push it bottom. It doesn't move it in this horizontal axis. That's one thing you should note. So now if I want to use align item to center it here, it's achievable since you know that align item moves item vertical wise. So we can as well do something like what, center. So once we say align item centers, it will move it in the vertical wise and center it for us. So comfortably you can see our item is being centered as we wish. As well, we can do what, change to flex end. So flex end means we want to position it at the end bottom aspect since it moves from top to bottom in the vertical direction. So that's one thing you must know about align items. And mind you that we are achieving these things because we have what, the flex direction on set to row. That's one thing you know. That's why align item is working in the vertical direction. If this first item is set to column, that means the alternative we apply, and that alternative means that align item will now work on the horizontal direction. If we should check it out now, you find that it's pushing it because it's now working horizontal wise. So center will be here, while start will be this point. So this is one thing that used to confuse people a lot, and if you understand it, it will help you so much. So but I will switch back to the format we have, which is row. This is the normal format when you are working with a browser you are having on the bottom axis. So I can now remove it back. Maybe I will send it to the center for now. So far we have it in the center. Next thing we have to apply now is we want to justify the content. Since we are working with row, if we want to justify our content, it will definitely move in the horizontal direction. For now, it's stay on the starting point. So if we want to send it to the center, we can achieve it. All we need is come below align item or above it, anywhere you want. You can add our justify content, and this time we are telling that we want to justify it. If you look here first, find out to have options that you can achieve whenever we want to justify our content. But for now, let's start with what, center. So with this means that it will center our content to the middle because our align item is in the middle and justify is what, in the middle. So if I should save and we check what is happening and see our content in what, in the middle. Align item works vertically and they have brought it to the middle. Justify content works like this, horizontally, and they have brought it to the middle. And this is applicable with what, flex direction of row. Always have it in mind. So if we go back, there are other things we can play with. If we want, we can do justify content, which is flex start. So you find that it will give it another thing to be in the starting point, which is this side. Our line item is still applying to the middle, but justify is now in the flex start, which is the default. We also have the flex end. If I should save and check what is happening, you find that we have the justify content to the flex end. So these things, if you understand them, it will help you a lot. So another thing I would like us to do, assuming we want to space out this content, we don't like the way it's jam-packed, so we can spread it within the available space as we have here. All we need to do is we can come to justify content. So I want to apply to the horizontal direction. So in order to achieve it, all we need to type is we can type space. If you type X, it can give you the options that is available. That means we can space it evenly. If we select this and save and check, you find that there is even the space are equal. That's what it means by evenly. So evenly is also the same thing with when we are applying space and we have space around. So it's almost the same thing with evenly. If we should save, find that we'll still get the same thing, space around, even though there's a little adjustment in between them. But evenly, if you want everything to be equal within the spacing, make sure you make use of the evenly. So that's one thing you should note. Then if you want, you can as well apply space between. So space between means it will take up the full width, the space we apply to the middle, as you can see. This is the where the space is taking, because we're telling that we want the space to be in between the contents we have. So it will take up the full width we have, then make the space available in between. So these things as applicable here, we can as well apply it in our align item. Can as well do what? Achieve the same thing. Now we have been using justified content so far. So assuming we want, we can try out the align item. So assuming we want to achieve the same thing we have here, but in the vertical way, we want it to, the first content to be like this, the second here, the third one, this direction. So what do you think we have to do? That's where we can switch the flex direction. Instead of using row this time, we can now do what? Use column. So if I should switch back to what I have, I can select my browser and switch it from row. So change it from what we have row back to column. So if I should save it like this and save, you will notice, let's see what we have for now. I believe I have saved. So you notice that we have it the way we want. If we go back to our code to see what is happening, now we are working in the vertical axis, which is being the main axis now. So the flex direction is applicable to which angle. That means if we go back, the flex direction have to be in this manner. While in the align item, this time is in the horizontal manner because we are using column. So if we go back again to check, that's what we are achieving. So being that justified content is applicable in the vertical direction, that's why we're having this space between or space evenly, depending on the one you want. I save. So if I go back, you find that everything is working in the vertical axis, which is now the main axis, and you can see the space is applying evenly. So that's one good thing about Flexbox you need to know. So next thing we'll be looking at now is we can change the order of these items. It's very simple. All we need to do, we can come to them and as well create unique classes for these items, so can style them differently. So I can apply style for, I can create class for this. I'll copy the second one as well, and I will create its own class. So I will do the same for the third one as well. So if I should copy for the third one and paste and create its own class. So now in order to achieve positioning the item, assuming I want it to be in this format, I want this first content to be the last, or I want this first content to be in the middle, depending on the position. So I have to use order. We have something we call what? Order a flex. So I can come to this first one, I can say something like, and apply my order to it, and I'm telling that I want it to take order 2. That means the second position. So now assuming we have order and we don't have any order in this one, that means this will definitely be the last, even though we are telling him to take the second position in this arrangement. If we should check it out, we find that it's now the last. Why? Because once we start applying our order, it will start arranging them from the last content we have, start arranging them according to how we have it. So what I mean by last content, now all these ones doesn't have anything like order on it, so except this one. So this will move down looking for any other content that has order in it, to now compare it whether it's the first or second. But the one that does not have it will definitely move up. That's why we are seeing it, and for now in the last position. So if I should go again and change this one and apply maybe order to this, maybe this is the third one and I want this third one to be first this time around, I can do something like order again, and I'm telling that I want you to be the first, in the first position. So what do you think will happen this time around? That means this will be the first because this does not have any order for now. Then this will be the second because it's above this, because it has an order of 1. This one means position of 1. This one means it will be coming after the first, this position. So that's why that means this 2 will be the first, 3 second, 1/3. If I should save and check, find I will have 2, 3 second and 1/3. So if we now add the final order to this, which means we are left with order of, we have 1, we have 2, so 3. That means we have completed changing their direction or their location. So now we find that it's now applicable as we have applied it. The third one has an order of first, which is what we are seeing, and now we have changed the order of this content. So we should be familiar with this. So I can now comment off this order, I can remove what I have in them. So depending on my choice, I can comment it off, and in order to comment them off, I can apply my comments by pressing down my control key and the /. So when we are looking at align self, assuming we have this content like this, and so far if we check the direction, the first direction is column. That means the main axis is on the vertical side. This is the main axis, while this is the cross axis. So now we might feel like we want to justify this, or we want to align this content. So now we might feel like we want to align this particular content, since we are in the main axis, since the main axis is vertical, and we want to align this content to move over to this side, while the rest remain on the same position. That's where we can have something like align self. So if I go back and go to my first content, which is what I want to shift, this is inner 1. So we can apply align self, and we'll have align self. We need to set it to flex start. So I can tell him that I want it to start like this. If we should save and check our contents, we find that we have it in the starting point. So at the same time, if I want to switch this one to the end, extreme end like this, that means it should be flex end. So if we go back to the second one we wish to move, I can as well apply my align self again, but this time I should have it in my flex end. And if I should save and check back, we find that this content is this side, this is this side, this is the middle. So that's one good thing you should learn when we are trying to align contents, maybe to the middle, center, individual contents. That's one thing we achieve with it. So next thing I would like to check out is when we are dealing with wrapping. Because now, assuming I adjust my screen, or let me take off this align self, because I'm done with it for now, so I can remove the align self so far, save my contents. Good. So now I've saved my content. I would like to change it back to row, which is for my browser. This is the direction I'm having for now. Next thing, I can take off my justify content for now. So if I should save this content and check what is happening, you find it at the extreme aspect of it. So we can minimize this screen for now. We want to see what will happen when we have multiple contents. If we want, we can as well apply some padding if we don't want to to justify this content evenly or space around. If you want, you can as well add a little padding to them. Depending on your choice, you can come to each of these items. It's still applicable and still add their normal padding or margin. But now, if I want to affect the external aspect of this div, I can do something like margin left or right. Since I can apply, I want to add margin left to it, and my margin left, I can say something like 10 pixels, and I want to add it also to the rest of the contents, so there will be a little spacing out among these contents. So if we save and check, you find that there is space. So we also use your normal CSS style as well, depending on how you want. So but for now, if we have more content, we may not achieve the normal grid system we have before. So I can duplicate this content. Now I'm having it in multiple, it's up to 6 now. So if I should save and go back and check what is happening, find that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's still visible on our screen. So I would like to add more content to it. So I want to start from here, pick some and duplicate. So when I duplicate and save, we should go back, find that some contents are not visible now. To make it visible, you can check it out by giving this maybe a different name. You can give it a kind of a different name and save. Go back and check. We are not seeing them. So in a normal grid system, if we are using something like Bootstrap grid, we find that our columns will start breaking when we are making use of rows and columns. But now, how do we achieve that same thing in this Flexbox? So we need to bring in what we know as what? Flex wrap. So now to tell Flex wrap, we need to go to the parent. When we say parent container that is holding all these things, that's where we need to apply the Flex wrap to know that if this content is a container, it should start breaking. That's what we are trying to achieve. So if I go to the class of it, I can as well apply it now by having my Flex wrap. So that's one thing we should know. And when we are using Flex wrap, we have multiple options. We have no wrap. No wrap, like the name implies, we don't want to wrap any content. We have our wrap. That means it's wrapping it normal, and we have wrap reverse. That means turn the position of our content. So if I should select wrap now and save and go back, you will find that our contents are now wrapping and is breaking down. It's visible in our screen. If as well want to bring them together, as you see, we can remove where we have our line content center. So we can take it off, save, check it again. You find that all the contents are together this time around, and I think I'm happy. So once it exceeds its boundary, it will break. If we adjust it, you find that it will start entering. If we reduce it, it will as well adjust as we have it. Whenever we are using Flex, we always try to take up the full height. So if we want to control it, we can either give these items a given height. So since we have these items with the same class applicable here, I can either come here and give it a specified height. You can decide to make it 100 pixels depending on your choice. If we go back now, we find that it's looking better. So this is one way of achieving our flexing. Find that it's showing very well as we want. So thank you so much for watching. In the next tutorial, if you're interested, I will be building up a lovely website, a login and sign up page using Flexbox. So please look forward to that. Bye.